3D cartoon review. At the end of the previous episode, after failing to circulate his soul power inside his body, Huo Yuhao decided to attempt a second experiment, this time outside of himself. He focused his energy in his palm, spinning it rapidly and compressing it into a solid funnel-shaped form. This time, he actively added more soul power into it, testing how far he could go. And suddenly, something unexpected happened. The funnel began to accelerate on its own. It didn't just absorb the natural energy of heaven and earth around it, it even turned back and started devouring Huo Yuhao's own soul power. It looked incredible but dangerous. Afraid that it might explode inside the tent, Yuhao immediately activated his simulation ability, turned invisible, and slipped quietly out of camp. He ran nearly 10 kilometers away before stopping at a secluded mountain ravine. There, in the quiet dark, he began the experiment again, but this time he used a much larger amount of soul power. Very soon, a funnel about the size of a clenched fist took shape in the air before him. From 200 meters away, Yuhao watched as the funnel greedily sucked in energy, dirt, and stones. It expanded rapidly, spinning faster and faster until it began to shake uncontrollably. Feeling a deep sense of danger, Yuhao leapt behind a nearby cliff just in time. A heartbeat later, a thunderous explosion tore through the ravine. When the dust finally settled, Yuhao looked up and saw an enormous crater, 30 meters wide and 10 meters deep, carved into the ground where the funnel had been. Its destructive power was equivalent to a full-force strike from him, even though he had used less than 1/10 of his total soul power. Realizing this toy was far too dangerous to continue alone, Yuhao decided to return to the academy to seek Elder Xuan's guidance. 2 days later, the group arrived at Shrek Academy. As soon as Huo Yuhao reached Sea God Lake, he encountered Elder Xuan waiting there. The old man's expression was grave. He began by explaining the dire situation on the continent. The Heavenly Soul Empire had lost more than 2/3 of its territory and was desperately pleading for Shrek's help. The Body Sect, one of Shrek's major allies, had nearly been wiped out in the war. Even Poison Immortal, who had fought fiercely against members of the Holy Spirit Sect sent by the Sun Moon Empire, had been gravely injured. Worse still, almost the entire younger generation of the Body Sect had been eliminated. Among them was Long Aocean, someone Yuhao once knew well, struck by a 9th-level soul tool blast and killed instantly on the battlefield. Elder Xuan sighed heavily, his voice full of helplessness. "I was never meant to be a leader," he said. "If only the Sun Moon Empire had delayed their invasion by a few more decades, how different things might be. By then, you would have grown strong enough, and I could have handed this burden to you." He paused, his eyes filled with regret. "As long as Ye Shishui and Long Xiaoyao remain alive, our side can never truly win unless Beast God Di Tian himself intervenes." But then his voice turned bitter. "Yet Di Tian has no intention of helping humanity. He wishes only to see humans destroy one another." Hearing this, Yuhao immediately suggested going to find Di Tian himself to plead for help. But Elder Xuan only shook his head sadly. "Pointless," he said softly. "He will only protect you, nothing more." After finishing their grim discussion about the war, Yuhao told Elder Xuan everything that had happened, the terrifying power he'd felt from Di Tian, and his own reckless black hole experiment that almost killed him. When Elder Xuan heard it all, his face paled. "This brat's courage is far too big," he muttered, half in fear and half in disbelief. Yuhao, still curious, asked, "Elder Xuan, what truly lies beyond the rank of Soul Douluo? What exactly is Di Tian's black hole-like soul power?" Elder Xuan didn't hold back. "When one reaches rank 90, the level of title Douluo, your soul power changes from liquid to solid form. That's when a soul core is born. This is the greatest bottleneck of all. When one reaches rank 95, possessing enough spiritual power to control that core, the soul power can then shift freely between liquid and gas form. And when you reach the rank of Limit Douluo, you must open a second soul core either in the chest or between the brows. That's the only way to advance further. Elder Mu, Long Xiaoyao, and Ye Shishui all took that path. But Ditian is different. He never created a second soul core. Instead, he uses the power of space itself to contain his energy. Hearing this, Yuhao couldn't help but ask again, "Elder Xuan, what would happen if I tried to form a soul core right now?" The old man burst out laughing. "Impossible. You're only a soul sage. Your body isn't strong enough. It would explode instantly, and you'd die without even knowing how." Then, a spark of curiosity flashed in Elder Xuan's eyes. He inhaled deeply and said, "But I am a little curious. Fine, I'll guard you. You can test it just to see your limit." The moment he agreed, Yuhao nodded without hesitation and began. He released his Xuantian soul power, letting it swirl in his palm, compressing it tighter and tighter. The once liquid energy thickened, becoming sticky, then slowly hardened into a solid state. Immediately, the funnel appeared again, and this time, it began to absorb energy wildly from the golden tree inside the sea god pavilion. Under Elder Xuan's protection, Yuhao continued to pour his soul power into it. 50%, 60, 70. Elder Xuan counted, watching carefully. When it reached 80%, Yuhao's face turned pale, his body trembling, sweat pouring down his forehead. He was nearly drained dry. Then, something miraculous happened. The ivory-white funnel began to change color, slowly turning into shimmering gold. Elder Xuan's eyes widened. "Yuhao, hold on. Your solid soul power has begun to gain an attribute. You might actually be forming a real soul core." Yuhao felt the funnel merging with the spiritual essence of his spirit eyes, combining physical and mental energy into one. But he was at his limit, his soul power completely depleted. Elder Xuan prepared to intervene, ready to destroy the funnel before it could kill him. At that very instant, a familiar voice rang out from deep within Yuhao's mind. "Continue," said Skydream Iceworm firmly. "I'm here." Before Elder Xuan could react, Skydream released a surge of energy, his 1,000,000 years of origin power, straight into Yuhao's body. Elder Xuan froze completely, speechless. He didn't even understand what was happening, only that Yuhao's drained soul power suddenly roared back to life. Fueled by this immense power, the golden funnel grew larger and larger. Then, black cracks of space began to appear around it, twisting and distorting reality itself. Not far away, Yan Shaoze and several titled Douluo noticed the anomaly in the sky. They were astonished, thinking someone had just broken through to the level of Super Douluo. Moments later, Skydream's body started to fade, his life essence exhausted. Yuhao had also reached his extreme limit. He gritted his teeth and whispered, "Brother Skydream has sacrificed so much to help me. No matter what, I must hold on." Gathering every ounce of strength left, Yuhao unleashed one final spiritual shock, pouring all his mental power into the funnel. The rapidly spinning funnel suddenly froze. The air trembled, and space itself collapsed inward. When Yuhao finally opened his eyes again, the golden funnel had vanished. In its place hovered a black vortex, completely still, shaped exactly like an eye, dark, deep, and endless. And that marks the end of episode 126 of Land2, the Unrivaled Tang Sect. Thank you for watching, and see you again in the next episode on 3D Cartoon Review.